Jeremy Clarkson went on Times Radio today to talk about his Farmers Choir winning Britain's Got Talent. Somewhere between the chat about rural isolation and the driest springs on record, he said this.
There's one part in particular that seems to be doing very well with the young farmers. That I do know. I mean, Caleb tells me all of his friends, all of them, are Reform. And I don't think there's a farmer alive who's Labour.
Reform's Home Affairs spokesperson Zia Youssef clipped it immediately and posted it with Jeremy Clarkson with a big slice of the truth. Reform UK Limited's official accounts followed, with Jeremy Clarkson says young farmers are backing Reform UK. They seem to have missed the limited part of their name. But anyway, let's just take that seriously for a moment, because Clarkson has form on the subject. In 2016, he didn't endorse Brexit. He did the opposite. He sat down with David Cameron and James May for a Remain campaign appearance, made the case about what leaving would do to the car industry, talked about livelihoods, talked about his children.
James and I agree on only three things, which is that sandwich spread is delicious, that the old Subaru Legacy Outback was a good car, and that we should stay in Europe. They're the only three things we agree on. Really, it's my gut. My gut tells me, as you know, I feel European, and therefore I want to be in Europe.
And when the result came in, he was not very gracious about it.
Those coffin-dodging idiots who voted for Brexit have just screwed it all up.
That was 9 years ago. Now, his remarks about young farmers are being used as a recruitment material by a party whose entire identity is built on the thing he campaigned against. And here's, I suppose, where it gets a little bit more interesting, because Clarkson claims that the government is bad for farming. I mean, he says so much on the radio interview. What he didn't say, though, what nobody at Reform is keen to discuss, is what Nigel Farage's one undeniable political achievement actually did to British farming.
Well, Brexit represents a victory for one man, perhaps more than any other. And Nigel Farage joins us now live from an event celebrating Brexit in Parliament Square. I know it's very noisy there, but this is, as you well know, history in the making. We heard you say in that report, no turning back. How does it feel for people like you and the crowds in Parliament Square now that your dream has been realised?
Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, you see, the thing is that for all these years, the entire establishment supported membership of the EU. And it was me and a few others and thousands of people out there, grassroots campaigners, who made this an issue, who terrified David Cameron into giving a referendum, and have gone on playing that role ever since. I mean, look, I've spent 27 years of my life fighting for this. I've given up a lot to do it, and tonight's the night. It's all been worthwhile.
Before Brexit, UK farmers received around about £3.5 billion a year through the EU's Common Agricultural Policy. Some for farms, particularly upland and livestock farms, those payments made up 90% of their annual income. Not like a top-up, the thing that keeping them, solvent. So that system is now being phased out, replaced with environmental land management schemes that a significant portion of farmers either can't navigate or find don't work for their land. And then there are the trade barriers. The EU was the UK's largest agricultural trading partner. Post-Brexit, new custom procedures and regulatory requirements make exporting to the EU markets more expensive and more complicated, particularly for dairy, livestock and fresh produce. Scottish and Welsh farmers who relied heavily on EU markets for lamb and beef felt it most. You might assume that the man responsible for all of this at least promised farmers something better. I mean, he did, actually, sort of. 3 months after the referendum, Farage went on the Andrew Marr show and explained what Brexit meant for British food. He said that we will open ourselves up to the world. We can get rid of the common internal tariff and buy cheaper food. He was talking about undercutting British farmers with cheaper imports. That's the vision. Cheaper butter from New Zealand, cheaper lamb, open markets, the thing that the National Farmers Union presidents once said that would critically damage the UK agriculture. A 2023 survey found that 69% of farmers said Brexit had been either fairly negative or very negative for their businesses. Not a think tank or a Labour press release. These were actual farmers. So Youssef sees Clarkson musing that young farmers, like his farmhand, and his mates, are backing reform and calls it a big slice of truth. The actual truth is that the party's founder spent 30 years demanding the policy that had stripped farmers of billions in subsidies, crashed their export markets, and then went on national television to explain that the upside was cheaper food coming in from abroad. Clarkson went on Remain. He watched the result and called it a catastrophe. Now his name is being used as evidence that farming and reform are a natural fit. He might want to have a word with himself about that. And maybe one with Caleb too.